Bank, we know you can't always make it before the bank closes. With our integrated teller, you can talk to a live person as late as 7 p.m. on weekdays and noon on Saturdays. It's not just an ATM, it's an ITM. First Choice Bank, your choice for banking.
Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 6.
Well, did you get the rain? That's the golden question heading into our 6 o'clock broadcast. Welcome into Mississippi Live Weather at 6. I'm meteorologist Gabe Maynor, and we have another evening watching some isolated to scattered showers. But if you don't get it today, chances are very low going forward. That's the unfortunate thing about this forecast is we're tracking what's left of that rain. Not exactly a lot, as you can already see some of that clearing taking place in Tupelo and sunshine. Yeah, that's going to be a big driver in our forecast. So if you don't get it today, get those hoses ready. You're going to need to use them for the next several days. Temperatures trending the right way, and I'm saying this very biasly because I want that fall weather to move in, and I know a lot of folks are in agreement with me. And so that's what we're going to be getting over the next several days is some of that cooler air pushing in, and really the big story is some of that drier air pushing in. But it is also severe weather preparedness week, so we are going to be tracking even more on severe weather, what to expect here in Mississippi, what we've gotten here in Mississippi, and just giving you much more information. Again, we are a weather channel here, and the biggest thing that we want to emphasize throughout every single one of our broadcasts is ways for you to stay safe, informed, and prepared. And so this week, just a big emphasis in that. We're going to continue to take advantage of it and inform you guys on what you can do here in North Mississippi to stay safe. The first 12, you might notice that we do have some lingering rain chances, but nothing severe is expected. That's the good part about this week is it's at least paired with a calmer forecast. Not going to have to track severe weather on top of talking about severe weather. We like to do so in a calm mannerism. 10 p.m., 72 degrees, and you already see those chances diminishing out. And overnight and into tomorrow morning, yes, still a mild start to the day. But what if I told you that was the last of those above average temperatures before a cooler, drier forecast moves in? One of the big talking points for our broadcast today is going to be that cooler air. And again, we are so excited. At least I am. And I know a lot of other folks are as well. Mississippi Live Weather Radar. You might notice that we are tracking a few more pockets of showers, but not overly high on that coverage. Only about 20% right now. And the main parts we're watching is out there towards Hollandale, southern part of Sunflower County, and moving closer to Holmes. And then Monroe County, dealing with a decent output of showers right there. And that's really the focal point right now is going to be Monroe County. So let's go ahead and start there. I'm going to zoom in right along Highway 45 there towards our folks in Aberdeen, Hamilton, Lackey, and Darracott. So that's going to be, again, not exactly a thunderstorm. As you can see, total strikes right at 0, but a hefty shower producing some decent rainfall rates. And so if I put this on the now, and I'm going to track this out, and we're only going to go about 5 to 15 miles an hour. Let me actually make sure we have that path right, because it is following this boundary that extends all the way from Clay County up there into Monroe County. It doesn't look like it has that much movement to it, but I would say overall we're trending in that southeast, east-southeast direction. So if we put it on that latest scan and put that track on there, heading at about 10 miles an hour. I'll take a 10. Caledonia, 647. So again, not a lot of folks going to be impacted this evening, but for some isolated locations, and I know folks in Hamilton dealing with it right now, and hopefully trending a little bit more towards northern Lowndes County. As that boundary continues to trend across there, we are hopeful that at least a few more chances of rainfall are in the forecast. Taking it back to our home view, let's go ahead and take it out to Hollandale and track the latest on those showers. So let's get there real quick. And I'm going to have to change radar sites here to the Jackson radar site because that is going to have a little bit more of that high resolution imagery. So currently just south of Hollandale along Highway 61, Inverness, Isola, Indianola, Sunflower, like I said, southern Sunflower County. That's where we're dealing with those showers. But if we loop this over the last 30 minutes or so, you can see that it's again following one of these bands, one of these boundaries that continue to trend a little bit more eastward. And so I'm actually going to take a step off screen here real quick so I can do a storm track on that. But as we watch it head east closer to about Holmes County, you can see that this is not going to be anything too significant. A lot of this is just going to be heavy rainfall. No strikes of lightning as of right now, and that's going to get closer to Rolling Fork. So I'm going to take it 15 miles an hour, and you can see several towns listed in there. Let's take it over to this side real quick. And you can see Bellwood, 613, Mont Helena, 615, Jaketown, 622. Same thing with Rolling Fork, right around 622. Nichols, 629, and Old Dominion closer to about 632. So that's going to be our southernmost counties. And if it holds together, Silver City and Chula, not out of the question, but we're going to take it one round at a time because this isn't going to be something that brings significant rainfall and still a pretty cyclical pattern along with those boundaries. So we're going to take it every half hour at a time, right? So looking at those rainfall totals, I know we talked a little bit about this at 6, but some more of those areas are populating in. Clay County, just above an inch. Monroe County, 1.3 inches, and a lot of that is over the past couple of hours. There towards Choctaw County, 1.1 inches. I know a few folks. Shout out the Boonville Blue Devils lady volleyball team down there in Choctaw County, taking on the playoffs right now, so currently in second round. So hopefully they can come out on top. I know my beautiful bride is cheering them on, getting them on track, and as well as the whole team. So shout out them. Going to give because we can. But yeah, just excited. Playoff action happening. We're excited at the Manor household. Atala County there in Kosciuszko, 1.7 inches. And the Bullseye down there in Macon, or should I say closer to Sugarlock, 1.7 inches as well. So that's what we're dealing with currently. Up earlier in the day, a couple hundredths of an inch over there towards the northern part, north of Highway 6, got hundredths of an inch, maybe up to a tenth of an inch at times. But again, not overly significant on those rainfall totals. And that's how it'll be heading into the overnight hours. We're just going to get this line of showers, this line of showers. It's going to be these bands that continue to work their way through. So let's go ahead and expand it out. And as we've been talking about all week long, the big driver in this forecast is this cold front, which is starting to move closer to North Mississippi. And as we put back what's behind it, this is really what you can expect. And for Matt's sake, I will not say cold, although it is a cold front and it is going to be dropping temperatures. It is more of a cooler forecast and a drier forecast as that front pushes more into North Mississippi, bringing this forecast as opposed to those showers that we've been getting the past few days. And so not going to be our forecast anymore. This is again the split between the two, and that's going to be giving us more of that fall-like weather as a result. So let's go ahead and track that out on Futurecast. And as you might notice, that front continues to trend a little bit more east into those overnight hours. And of course, more rain chances are a part of that. This front just acting as a lifting mechanism for more of those isolated showers to develop. So not impossible that we get a few more isolated showers, but into those overnight hours, rhymes. As we head into that forecast, it'll start to trend in some of that drier and cooler air. So experience that as early as 5 a.m., 6 a.m. on your Wednesday before that drier air really kicks in. I mean, you can see it right here with that northerly wind component behind that front, really gusting in some of those cooler temperatures and that drier air, of course. So we're going to be seeing a lot more sunshine, a lot less of the rainfall, and a lot more of that cooler fall-like air. So the next 24, 68 degrees to start. But again, I say enjoy it because it's not going to be this way for a little bit of time. And as we take a look at that extended forecast towards the afternoon, 79 degrees is where we top out at for our Wednesday. So just an exciting time as that cooler air trends just that much closer. And I know a lot of fall fans in the comments are agreeing with me on that. I'll check it here behind the scenes as we head to commercial. But yeah, we're just excited. This is a great forecast giving us exactly what we need with the rainfall and then exactly what we need with the cooler temperatures. We're going to be talking more about temperatures coming up in the next 60, but it is also Severe Weather Preparedness Week. Please stay with us here at Mississippi Live Weather at 6 so we can talk to you how to stay safe as severe weather season approaches. All of that coming up live from the Room to Room Weather Center in the next 60.
Experience unmatched comfort with Heirloom, the mattress of choice for true luxury. During the VIP sale at Room to Room, enjoy an extra 10% off customer favorite Heirloom. Don't miss this exclusive opportunity at Room to Room Tupelo.
At Bulldog Burger, we take the burger game to the next level, like the Freshman 15, stacked with panko fried mozzarella. Unleash your appetite.
This roof's getting installed with our premium roofing system. Backed by our 50-year warranty. And there's a 0% financing, no payment for 6 months options that this customer utilized. If you're looking for a new roof and you need an affordable option, call Absolute Restoration.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynor.
Shout out James with the North Mississippi Storm Chasers for being our eyes in the sky this evening, telling us, hey, Caledonia has a heck of a shot. And you are exactly right about that, James, as that storm continues to move south of Aberdeen into the Hamilton and then Caledonia area. This is a look at that rain shaft that they're experiencing. Their heavy downpour, that's going to be the primary effects we see out of this storm. I shouldn't even use the term storm because it doesn't really have any lightning associated with it. So these aren't going to be significant. These aren't really going to be thunderstorms. Maybe a few rumbles here and there. But overall, this is just bringing that decent rainfall that we ever so need here in North Mississippi. 83 degrees, so still a warm atmosphere. But look at that feels like value. 90 degrees. So that humidity, that stickiness, if you went outside, oh, you felt it. And it was just an uncomfortable feel. So all of that does change in the extended forecast. But fortunately, getting those remnants of what's left of those showers, this is just a great sight to see. And I know a lot of folks there are excited about it. And I can see in the background, you do see that sunshine starting to peer out just a bit behind our map. Not just there, but even on this side, getting that sunshine behind there. So this is going to be a fantastic forecast moving forward. But hey, we'll take every drop of rain you want to provide us, Mother Nature. We still need it desperately here in North Mississippi. As we take a look, let me move this back a little bit to our to North Mississippi, of course. But what we're getting right now is the effects of that cold front. That, of course, moving through the Little Rock area before it gets closer to Memphis, and that cooler air and drier forecast enters in behind it. So if we look at temperatures right now across the region, you can see that we're currently sitting at about 75 in Starkville, 77 Tupelo, and 80 in Memphis. So still a warm forecast, even with that rainfall taking place. But back behind it, and if I expand this out, unfortunately numbers will not populate, but you are getting an idea of some of those some of that cooler weather. That line really well defined right there from Oklahoma City up there towards the Fayetteville area and then on there into Illinois and Indiana. So that's the front moving on through. That's going to be that little bit of a drop in those temperatures. And of course, not experiencing it just yet as we look at temperatures across North Mississippi right now. 77 in Tupelo, 74 Boonville. Some rain aided in keeping those temperatures relatively cool, but 83 in Columbus, like what we just talked about a moment ago. And out west where it's a little bit drier, we see 85 for folks in Greenwood, 83 Water Valley, and 81 Senatobia. So we'll take the cooler air at any point, and unfortunately that moves in quicker rather than later. Mississippi Live Weather Radar has those storms moving through Monroe County, and as we take a look back at that one moving through Hamilton, that is one to just keep an eye on. Comparatively speaking, should I say, because that's just providing a decent downpour, decent rain shaft, like what we had a brief moment ago. Let me clear this off here real quick and get back in on that Hamilton storm. You can see it is continuing to move in that southeast motion in Caledonia, only moments away from you. If we put that storm track on, again, moving at about, I would say, I'm going to put it at 15 miles an hour to give more of a heads up rather than less. You can see right there, Caledonia 631, Flint Hill 632, and the Star Community 7 o'clock. More development on the back end of this, but those aren't anything too significant. These almost look like they're collapsing as of this point. If I put it on that 30-minute loop, yeah, so that one that was moving through strong showing who's stronger and basically dissipating that storm on out. And then we're continuing to see at least what's left of the rain showers, but not anything that's continuing to build in strength or build in intensity. So fortunate there. And if we move radar sites over there to the Jackson area, as that line of storms continues to move from Lake Providence to Rolling Fork and Belzona, we're going to put it on that latest scan and again take it at about, I'm still going to say 15 miles an hour on this. And that's going to continue to move. Oh, not 30. Oh, man. It's almost like a spring storm at that point. But you can see as it moves closer to that eastern direction, we're talking about the Rolling Fork community, 621, or the Rolling Fork area, should I say. Swifttown, 628, Dogwood Landing, 629, Belzona by about 638. So this is one we're tracking into the next half hour or so. This is going to be what's left of those bands as they continue to roll on through as one of those prefrontal developments. Out west, of course, that's where the front is continuing to move on through. Some more developments would not be surprised to see, but fortunately, and also, unfortunately, we're kind of on the back end of our rain chances for today. So as we take a look at that forecast, at least for our evening, of course, we are going to be dealing with some of those drier conditions. As you see that front up there, Tuesday, 7 p.m., continuing to move there through Little Rock and Forest City, that trending closer to the Memphis area by 8, 9 o'clock, and that's just continuing to push all of this moisture out to the east, leaving us with this drier state of mind. But you do notice that the winds have basically stopped. Look right here in Macon, Columbus, and West Point. This is a big identifier in what the forecast is because we basically have little to no wind gusts. Now, what this means, Some possible fog towards tomorrow morning, a realistic possibility with all the moisture happening right now and no wind to really dry it up or sunshine to dry it up. So wouldn't be surprised to see some patchy fog, West Point, Columbus, and Starkville, even down there towards Macon and Gordo and Reform. But as that front continues to push on through and bring in that cooler and drier air, you can see the winds already starting to shift, coming out of the north by about 5 to 10 miles an hour for folks up there towards Bruce, Water Valley, and Cleveland. Down south, just starting to trend from the north. So Columbus starting to get that light breeze pushing in, and same for folks along the Alabama state line. So low temperatures, unfortunately, not going to be affected by that front just yet. Still sitting in the low to mid 60s across the region with 66 Tupelo, 68 Columbus, 66 Eupora, and 68 around Belzona. So no cooler air will move in the forecast by tomorrow morning. But don't worry, by the afternoon, stuff starts to trend a little bit better. So your school day forecast, 67 degrees at drop-off, only climbing into the upper 70s around that final belt. Typically on drier days, we see more of a disparity when it comes to those low temperatures and high temperatures. Not the case for tomorrow, and that's because those winds starting to shift from that early morning hour there towards the afternoon. And so that's basically the atmosphere changing directions. And you know, when you drive forward, you turn around, turn and go back. Carrying all of your Wednesday, trending much drier like I've been talking about, and I feel like I've said drier so many times, my throat's so kind of there. Forecast as well, you'll notice those winds becoming more breezy, possibly even gusty, should I say, maybe even 15 miles an hour on the back end of that front. Noontime still dealing with those dry conditions, partly cloudy skies, of course, and into the afternoon forecast, we are going to continue to enjoy the fantastic effects of the post-cold front. So an enjoyable forecast for our Wednesday. Make sure to get out and about, at least head over to the park before you get into those midweek services for church, because it is going to be that ideal of a forecast. One of the things that I enjoyed when I was growing up was getting to church about 30 minutes early, heading to the basketball court and just playing one-on-one this time of year, because I didn't drop a sweat because it was so cool, it was so comfortable. So highly recommend that, and if you want to meet me at your local court, let me know. I will be there, never turning down a 1v1 experience. High temperatures, of course, we are going to see those still trend a little bit above average, 79 Tupelo, 80 Houston, 82 in Bruce. Still seeing the upper, or should I say mid 80s there, Belzona and Greenwood, but we are trending in the right direction despite temperatures still being above average, at least falling back ever so slightly. So your Wednesday evening as church wraps up, maybe head out and about and enjoy some of those evening plans outside, because it is going to continue to be that dry forecast. And as we push more into our Wednesday night and Thursday morning, you can see the effects of that front really pushing in, drying up that air, giving us those clear skies, a little bit of that thin cloud cover trying to move out there towards the Delta, and still trying to wrap around some moisture over here to Mississippi on the east side. Again, this is believable. This, not really, and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about, because you can see it by 9 a.m. that dense cloud cover already starting to pick up there towards Jasper, and a few light showers. Now that doesn't really come with a northerly wind component like what we're getting right here. What this is probably a part of is some of that wraparound moisture that's trying to circle into the area. So this isn't exactly, actually I say that, this is just not believable at all, because let's talk about this forecast. Northerly winds or northeasterly winds really pushing into North Mississippi, but also there towards Georgia and Alabama. So cloud cover possible, but that northerly wind at least cycling out some of that moisture and not bringing in that Gulf moisture like a southerly wind would. And that front, that can also be a lifting mechanism in this circumstance. The fact that it's all the way in the Atlantic tells me that these rain chances, a little bit ambitious to say the least. So the thing that we're watching with this forecast is those dry conditions, and models going to try and populate a few of these showers in the forecast. Not exactly believable. So for folks in Pickens County, Lamar County, even down there towards Lowndes and Noxubee County, not really expecting any rain chances in that forecast. So fortunately, and also, unfortunately, still going to be a dry forecast for our Thursday evening. So take advantage of it, get outside, and we'll see more model runs coming out tonight at 10 that I think will verify this a little bit more for any of those Thursday evening activities if the eye test isn't exactly passing at this moment. So high temperatures on your Thursday, there's the right direction. Seeing much more 70s popping up with 72 Red Bay, 73 Iuka, 75 Senatobia, and 77 Clarksdale. So folks are trending nicely over the next couple of days with some of that cooler air. 78 Louisville, and 80 down there towards Macon. So slightly warmer down south, but again, nothing like what we've been experiencing. But notice 85 was the temperature for today, dropping down to 79 Wednesday afternoon. Thursday, 77 degrees, and then that gradual climb back. Yes, we are going back up the mountain heading into Tuesday of next week, but drier air in the forecast. So 84 on Tuesday is not going to be synonymous with that 85 that we had today. Feels like values were around 90 today. Feels like values then, probably only going to be in the mid-80s. But the big difference, look at this forecast. You want to talk about a roller coaster? This is a downhill as a Goliath at Six Flags. 70 there for today, or this morning, should I say. Wednesday, 66. And then by Thursday, 55 degrees heading out the door. So a little bit of a cooler forecast. Might be worthy of the long sleeves or sweatshirt. Recommend the sweatshirt if it was between the two, because sweatshirt, at least you can have a t-shirt underneath it to accommodate for some of that warmer air by the afternoon. But you can do what you want. Honestly, the air will probably still be on at where you work or school, so you might get away with a long sleeve all day long. 67 degrees by 7, 77 by noon, and 79 by Wednesday afternoon. Again, with those clouds blocking the sky, not exactly going to see a big shift in those temperatures, and especially with those winds kind of shifting throughout the day. But then moving into that extended forecast, we're talking 55 to 77, 57 to 78, then 54 to 79 as the days go on. So cool mornings and cooler afternoons, not 80s, at least for the next several days, but trending a little bit warmer over the next several days. And despite our afternoon temperatures trending warmer, low temperatures remaining relatively the same. So there's that fall-like air trying to push into the forecast, and definitely no complaints about the 50s. But coming up in the next 60, we are not done with our 6 o'clock broadcast. A big emphasis this week is staying safe when it comes to severe weather. And we're going to have Severe Weather Preparedness Week Part 2 connect to our forecast today, and we cannot wait to walk through what we're learning, what we're experiencing, and how you guys can stay safe and informed whenever it comes to Mississippi's severe weather season. That coming up in the next 60, as well as the latest look at the tropics coming up on Mississippi Live Weather at 6, live from the Room to Room Weather Center.
You need some help?
Your tow chains are a little loose. Could spark a wildfire. I could show you how to secure them properly if you'd like.
Sure. Thanks a lot.
Anytime. You should check out SmokeyBear.com. They've got a bunch of tips on wildfire prevention.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Join the Chickasaw and Kana Foundation for the 5th annual Piamico Day wreath laying ceremony at Fair Park in downtown Tupelo on October 13th. Starting at 10 a.m., enjoy demonstrations of Chickasaw history and culture, followed by the wreath laying ceremony at noon.
Well, welcome back into Mississippi Live Weather at 6. We're going to first take a look at the tropics and then talk more details about Severe Weather Preparedness Week. Right now, taking a look in the tropics, you can see Tropical Storm Jerry getting a little bit more organized. Shout out my dad on that. I was having a conversation with Matt earlier, and I said, I feel like 2025 season is very synonymous to the Maynor family. We've had Gabrielle, which is close to Gabe, and now we're having Jerry, which is my dad. And so wouldn't be surprised if we added Annalise, Sandy, Abby for my sister. I guess you can't have two A's, but yeah, I mean, we're having all the names. So just a very odd situation, but I mean, at least it's out there in the tropics, not doing any damage to us here in North America, here in the United States, or honestly here in South America either. So Jerry remaining by himself out there in the Atlantic, and that's where we want him to be, staying by his lonesome. But let's go ahead and track that storm out. Of course, Tropical Storm Jerry currently remaining with about 50-mile-an-hour winds, and those winds continuing to strengthen over the next several days. 1,003 millibars, that pressure level at the surface. But as we take this over the next several days, you see Category 1 strength reached by Thursday morning. Honestly, wouldn't be surprised if by Wednesday afternoon we were tracking Category 1 Hurricane Jerry, and that trending a little bit more northwest, still keeping that Category 1 strength, but wouldn't be surprised by Friday afternoon to be tracking a Category 2 storm just under that major hurricane threshold as it starts to trend a little bit more north. So it looks like it's steering clear from any landmass so far, and that'll continue to move up in the Atlantic and remain at Category 2 strength. So it just follows the same trend a lot of these storms have been following, and so this is definitely something to look into in a little bit more detail, but it's a very odd situation that we continue to have storm after storm reach big time strength and then starts to turn a little bit more northeast. And don't get me wrong, no complaints. This is just something that's a little bit more of a frequency here over the past couple of months. So we also are watching the Gulf right now, a 10% chance of development over the next 2 days, and same thing over the next 7. If anything, this is just providing some more of that necessary moisture, that sufficient moisture down there towards Mexico, cycling that in, and hopefully remains below anything tropical storm or tropical depression, especially under tropical or under hurricane, but we're keeping eyes on the tropics just in case, but not really expecting any impacts from that. But this week is Severe Weather Preparedness Week. Today and specifically is the Severe Thunderstorm Warning Day. And so as we kind of walk through that forecast, what we're going to be talking about in a little bit more detail is what exactly is the criteria for a severe thunderstorm, as well as what exactly is the criteria for, warnings and watches. And so walking through that in more detail. So let's bring it on over here to the room-to-room weather center. And as you can see behind me, something that Chief Meteorologist Matt Laubon was talking about at 5 o'clock were the 3 criteria for a severe thunderstorm: winds of 58 miles an hour or greater. You can see the damage done behind it with some trees being knocked over. That's usually what we see with strong wind gusts, as well as some power lines knocked down. Hail of 1 inch or greater. We have seen some massive hailstones over the past couple of years, so it's no surprise to get hail around 1 inch. And that's the criteria that it has to meet for that severe thunderstorm warning. Now, something that's showing up that I want to tell you guys about is you see right there in the middle, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but there is a quarter. So that's how we can kind of measure these stones. And that's what we encourage you guys to do as we enter into the severe weather season, is have coins ready, a penny, a dime, a nickel, a quarter, even a $50 if you're lucky enough. And have that on standby, because if any of these hailstones drop, put a coin next to it, snap a picture and send it to us, and we'll forward that information to the National Weather Service, whether it's down in Jackson or even up in Memphis, or for folks in Birmingham. That helps them reach the threshold of what to expect for each thunderstorm, whether it's severe or not. If it looks a little bit more impressive, but on the ground it's only producing about dime-sized hail, of course severe thunderstorm would not meet that threshold. So that's one of the key things that you guys do to help us, is let us know those storm reports. So keep up the great work. You've been great so far here at Mississippi Live Weather, and we just want to continue to work with you, our weather watchers out in the field. Just do so in a safe manner. And that's a perfect segue into the 3rd criteria, tornado. As you can see, that is under the criteria for severe thunderstorm, but it's one of those major damaging things that we can experience. So that's why it has its own warning with tornado warnings. So that's why, we put a little bit more emphasis on that. A little bit more damage can occur whenever there's a tornado on the ground. But we said submit reports with hail after the fact. With tornadoes, go to your safe spot. And that's one of the big things we want to emphasize, is just find your safe place, develop your severe weather plan. Matt, of course, walked you guys through how to make a severe weather kit and what it needs to include. So put that together right now, have it in your safe place already. So when you go to your safe place, you don't have to worry about grabbing it along with the kids, the dogs, anything that you guys want to take to the shelter. It can kind of take one thing off the checklist. And so go ahead and do that. But we don't want pictures of a tornado if it's done in an unsafe way. We really don't want it at all, because there's not really a safe way to do it here in North Mississippi. So find your safe place, go there, and then after the fact, whatever damage has occurred, once you're in a safe way, then you can submit that. But let's go ahead and walk through a watch versus a warning. And one of the things that goes into that is, what exactly is a watch? Well, a watch means conditions are favorable for severe weather development. It can be issued for up to 6 hours, and it, of course, is an awareness thing. Lets you guys know that you need to be watching the weather over that time frame that the severe thunderstorm watch or tornado watch is in effect. But a watch is not the same as a warning. As you can see, or it's kind of tough to see, those polygons get issued that are those unique shapes, typically with a severe thunderstorm warning and a tornado warning. That means that severe weather has been detected on radar or has been observed. And it's issued for about an hour. I've seen some 45-minute ones get issued, but really, in essence, and underline this, it means take cover, because that means that severe weather is headed your way and something has been detected on radar on our end or in person with any of our emergency managers or certified storm spotters. So that's kind of what we want to emphasize. And our watches, I know it's red here, are more of that yellow that show up. And so that's one of the things that you can look for with us. But either way, it's something you need to take seriously. And if you see any of those watches be issued, be aware, be watching, but when those warnings get issued, that's when we need to take action and go to that safe spot. As we take a look at some reports over the past few years, let me make sure it was on the right one. Okay, we need to go one to the left. There we go. This is a look at damaging wind reports. So we're going to focus more on the severe thunderstorm part today because that is what Tuesday is about on Severe Weather Preparedness Week, is how to stay safe in those severe thunderstorm warnings. And this is a look at damaging wind reports over the past, this is from 1950 up to 2014. So this is a look at what we've experienced, and it's number of wind reports. We've had 364 January, 440 in February, climbing to 900 in April, 800 in May, and 1,000 in June. So that's typically when we get those more damaging winds. You know how we have more of those afternoon showers and storms that pop up? Well, some of those can have those gusty winds, and that's when we get some more of those reports, because during the afternoon, that's typically when we get some of that development. It could be every single day by that point, because we do have the Gulf moisture. We do have the daytime heating in summer. So that's why this number is so high in those summer months. And even like March and April, that's usually due to a frontal boundary pushing through in our peak severe weather season. And so that's why those reports are a little bit higher. Once we enter October, like we're in right now, we usually have about 200. So severe thunderstorms get to be a little bit less in regards to frequency. And so we're not seeing it as much as we do during the summer or the early spring, or mid-spring, should I say. But it is still a realistic possibility. It's just not something that we are typically coming into work looking to experience. So hopefully that can continue to remain the case and be a quiet winter like it is per usual. Our significant winds, which is greater than 75 miles an hour, becomes much more minimal over that same time frame. I mean, September, we have 3 over the past 65 years, October 14, November 27, and December 26. Again, those spring months going to be the highest, with March and April coming in with 80 to 90 reports. And then summer still providing a few, but not as much as the spring. And this is because the stronger events are typically going to be more in the spring as those frontal boundaries push on through. But whenever it reaches those summer months, those afternoon thunderstorms not exactly getting up to the extreme threshold like we typically get during the spring. So I'm going to zoom this in here real quick. That could probably help with your guys' view. I apologize for that. Reports of greater or equal to 1 inch hail over the last 70 years, 1950 to 2020. You can see that we have 800 all the way up to 1,100 from March to April. And as we trend more through the summer, those reports just continue to diminish. We're not exactly getting those storms that are continuing to be at severe strength for hail during those Burr months, should I say. So September, October, November, and December. And that trend continues the same whenever we're looking at those major hail reports up to 2 inches in size or greater. As you can see, I mean, September 1 report, October 11, November 11, and December 2. Comparatively speaking, look at the spring, 102 reports in April. So yes, I mean, they're a realistic possibility, but they're not exactly something we expect in those later months in the year. So this is just what we can expect with severe thunderstorm warnings. This is something that we've had for over the last 70 years, reports being submitted. And so we want you guys to stay safe, stay prepared, treat it. I mean, I know it's not equivalent in regards to the damage scale that we typically get with a tornado. And I feel like severe thunderstorms are often slid under the rug saying, it's just a severe thunderstorm warning. As you can see behind me, it can still be damaging, and folks' lives are still impacted by these events. Knocking a tree over onto a home, if you're in that room, and we've seen lives get lost in that circumstance. So we want you guys to take it seriously, get to where you need to be, and of course stay as safe as possible whenever severe weather does strike. A big emphasis of this week is getting that plan together. We talked about what to take. We'll talk more details about where to go, what to do, and we're just kind of setting the scene and talking about these severe thunderstorm warnings that we experience here in North Mississippi. And as you can see, it's quite frequent. So just go ahead and get prepared, stay informed. Best way to do so is tuning into Mississippi Live Weather, and be ready for action when those warnings do hit. And so I hope you guys learned something from this. I hope you guys are staying informed. And again, we will be talking about this all week long. So keep it here for the very latest. We're going to take it back over there to the wall where we're going to talk, kind of wrap things up, but I hope you guys are staying prepared. I hope you guys are enjoying the coverage whenever it comes to Severe Weather Preparedness Week. And of course, your safety is our top priority in all of this. So if you have any questions, put them down in the chat or send an email to us, info@msliveweather.com, and we'll be happy to answer that this week so that way you guys can stay safe. And we know here at Mississippi Live Weather that you guys are staying safe. And don't think your question is just very minuscule or directly to yourself. It could be affecting a lot of people and something that a lot of people are wondering. And so with us being a service to you, we want to service you and inform you guys on that information. So we thank you guys once again for everything, making this a possibility, and just keeping you guys safe. That's something that we want to continue to do here at Mississippi Live Weather. So I recommend you guys downloading the free app. We talk about layers of protection. That's the best way to do so. And then adding weather call, and then adding a weather radio, anything that you guys want. There's several things, but this is an easy layer to do. Free and available on the App Store today, iOS and Android. So go ahead and do so. Make sure it's up to date with the latest update. Came out last week, should be good to go, and just making it that much smoother to use. And of course, it does have our 24/7 stream equipped with our live shows at 5, 6, and 10 on your evenings, any evening throughout the week. And speaking of, we will have our 10 o'clock broadcast coming up in a couple of hours. And your morning at 6:30, 7, and 7:30 for anything you need to know heading out the door. We'll be able to provide that with meteorologist Maggie McCauley. And we, of course, just want you guys to stay safe and informed. So that's why we kind of sandwich the day together with both a morning and afternoon shows. That way you guys can have all the latest information. So I'm going to head over here real quick and make sure I'm not missing anything in chat, because yes, we've already gone a little bit long, but I mean, what's better than talking a little bit long? I see some folks in chat talking about something that I will be bringing up tonight at 10. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Yes, we are very excited. But I'll be talking more about that tonight at 10. So thank you in advance, and we'll see more details coming up here in a couple of hours. So we hope you guys have a fantastic evening. I don't see any questions right now in chat, but if you do have any questions, feel free to send it to us or put it in the chat tonight at 10, and we'll talk more detail about that. We hope you guys have a fantastic evening, and we'll see you back here in a couple of hours.
March 24th, 2023 was a normal Friday. You know, we knew the weather was not good, but we needed to take shelter, and we didn't have shelter. My husband and almost 2-year-old daughter, Ethan and Riley, they did lose their lives in the storm. We're still recovering from it. We'll always be recovering from it. Matt Lopon cares about the community. He's not just there to collect a paycheck. I feel like Matt Lopon has proven himself trustworthy.